Hello and welcome to the Permaculture Herbalism segment of the Elder Tree podcast. I am your host, Tonielle Christensen from Earth Mumma, where I teach people how to thrive and get skilled for sustainability. As an educator, kitchen witch, and plant lover, I welcome you to tune in as I interview permaculturalists from around the world. We will learn holistic ways of integrating plants into our homes, gardens, and communities for healing. Together, we will explore the art and science of this regenerative design system and harvest the collective wisdom. Permaculture offers a pathway to empower people to develop their lifestyles and landscapes. So let's discover how to grow and know plants with a purpose. Welcome to this episode of the Permaculture Herbalism segment. I have interviewed Samantha Jurgens from the Nature Kids Permaculture Program for families, a total mouthful but very explanatory of what permaculture education and culture can be when we consider the permaculture flower and ways that we can redesign or design systems that may not be the physical landscape but have that invisible structures. And Sammy has a lot to share in this space. She's a homeschooler and seed saver, and she really talks about how thriving in a great community or network is part of the power of community, and definitely a big part of her journey, especially around not having her own garden for herself, but working on farms and being in a scenario where her neighbour has taken down the fence and, really created a community in the neighbourhood. Samantha and I work closely together as co-creators of the permaculture program. So we do open up sort of behind the scenes and talk about some of our lessons that are related to herbalism, and sort of talk about that aspect of permaculture and herbalism together and what that means for us. We also touch on things like reading the patterns of our body and the land and that connection between our health and the land's health. Beekeepers and honey producers and how they are actually very different things. So without any further ado, I'd love to jump into the interview. So grab a herbal cup of tea and listen on. Thank you so much for joining me, Samantha Jurgens.
Thanks, Dottie. Appreciate it. Great to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's quite an honor. I'm very excited about Elder Tree and all the wonderful things that are coming through there, and all the wonderful podcasts from all the other amazing people that are sharing their journey and their wisdom and knowledge.
For sure. And now you're one of them. So let's start at the beginning. Why is permaculture an important aspect of your life?
That's a big question, isn't it? And permaculture brings so much. I think for me, in another chapter, it feels like a lifetime ago, I studied psychology and worked, as a registered psychologist, and was really interested in obviously how the mind works and all its functions and cognitions and how that relates to behavior and emotions and so on and so forth. But as my own, individual and human being, I was always looking for sort of like a framework, and a how-to, because I'm a very practical person.
You are.
And as you know, how many times that we've been working on something and I'm like, oh my gosh, this doesn't just relate to the garden or the land. So much of it, of course, is the people aspect and the social aspect, but how much it relates back for me to that zone 0, my interest in understanding how things are. So for me, it kind of fits in everywhere, not just outside in the garden as well. Sort of gives me that framework. Which I really appreciate.
And I know you've worked in gardens and created gardens and cared for other people's gardens in this journey in Townsville and different rentals you've had up here. You've lived on a farm and done things like milking cows and, caring for how many 120 chickens and and all of the sort of syntropic gardens that they've got happening there, and living really close to the land, the proper like chopping wood and carrying water aspect.
Yes.
But what I, like my journey of working with you really has been in that permaculture domain, when we talk about the permaculture flower and the domains that can be sort of designed or redesigned in society and in physical forms. You're really doing a lot in permaculture education, not just in the Nature Kids program, but also you've done homeschooling. So in terms of alternative systems, you've done homeschooling, you've got your children. Go for it. Tell me. Let's talk about it.
That's it. The local energy trading systems. I mean, even our amazing local markets that we have and the way that we barter and trade there, a lot of the times there's not cash happening. There's a lot of different energy exchange that happens. My neighbours, we've taken a panel out in the side of our fence because she has the abundant, amazing garden that's happening. It's got a great design, so she just
we'll plug Earth Artisan.
That's the one. Thank you very much, Blake. And it's abundant, so I'm able to go next door and just be able to harvest and then take those things straight into my kitchen, while I'm able to, resource sort of different products such as honey, and I can use that really quite easily to barter. I do appreciate that, like the social aspect, the community aspect of permaculture is something that I've always enjoyed, because I enjoy chatting with people, so I enjoy networking. And then that just builds relationships, and then that, those relationships build strengths, and then I'm finding I don't often have to go to a shop, because I can go to a friend's farm at 5:30 in the morning and work for a little bit and go home with fresh milk and eggs and produce, and then, as I said, walk next door, and then someone drives past who's from, down the road, and it's like, I've got a lot of bananas, do you need some? Yeah, please. I've got too many eggs, here we go. And there's all this trading happening all the time. And just different ways that my local community that I've chosen and taken many steps to be able to actually finally be living there. Just the resilience that they already have, that you can see that is that people care, fair share, that aspect is there. And even watching how the older traditions and the older sort of farmers are slowly making these changes as well in those areas. It's really quite inspiring to see that happening and, be a part of it. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the deep end. I'm learning so much, but it's the best way to learn.
And what this journey is about, I don't think that there's any, that we get it all. It's just constant learning, constant deepening.
Yes.
So was this always your life, or, at what point did you find permaculture and decide that this is your future, or why did you move up to the Far North Queensland area?
Well, I don't really know where it actually began, but it was brought into my life really at that time by going to the eco fiestas and things like that in Townsville. And I do believe I picked up a form to be in a part of a Bakashi trial run project, and that's where I met yourself, because you were coordinating that.
The urban composting project.
There we go. And I was only a new mum, and I was learning so much, because obviously that was quite an initiation. And so I wanted to know everything I could about it. I used to always say growing up to my dad, even, to leave the leaves, it's a la naturel, but I didn't really know what I was onto, so permaculture,
justified it.
I'm sure it's mulch or something, Dad.
It's meant to stay there. Nature popped it there for some reason.
Now I rake it up and water it every day and hope the sun, helps to start breaking it down. So, and so from there, it was really, the father of my daughter, he studied permaculture first and sort of brought it into our awareness, and then as my child grew, it was more about tribe to begin with. It was like, where do I want to be? What village do I want to help raise, my child? And then some very clever person created a program called Nature Kids to go alongside her permaculture design course. And I said, well, this is perfect. This is something that a single mum can do. You know, I can go and take my child. So it was way more than a course. It was a retreat, and that was something that my soul, you know, needed, was to be around like-minded people in that kind of community, eating great food and learning something that was mind expanding. So many aha moments with the logic and the common sense, but then just so much like, wow, there's so much around me that I have not taken in. You know, so much to learn, which was exciting, because I knew it was giving me a new frame of reference. I knew it was giving me new beliefs and, you know, belief systems and new paradigms. Everything was shifting for me.
You put your perma goggles on?
Well, I had to come back next year and do it all over again.
You wanted more.
And my daughter was like, well, I'm a jungle girl now. I'm one of the first nature kids. Let's keep doing this.
Yeah. Sophia and Nova hanging out together, and to
this day.
To this day. So it's like my first memory of you, I mean, I had over 150 people in that composting project, so I didn't remember you then, but we did you totally shone, like spoke to me, and embedded a memory at a Food for Thought event in Townsville. So we got a grant from the council, and we were doing these amazing movies that matter, and it was a combination with the Permaculture Townsville group and Food for Thought. And it was magic, like the community that came together, either from the perspective of wanting to grow food or wanting to eat good quality food. It was this beautiful blend of people.
And also that sharing, I found, was such a massive part of those kind of gatherings. People really wanted to share their abundance and their surplus, and share their knowledge of how they grew this, or what it works for them, or how it's changed you know, their health for them. I really enjoyed that aspect.
It was so good. So many great dinner parties. But this particular time, we just had this huge, big, long table, and everyone brought a plate, and they had little recipe cards of what was in it, and people spoke about what they brought and how they made it, and there was all this amazing information sharing, and you were there, and you had little Sophia in your, you know, in the ergo baby, and you were just talking to me about wanting community and the land, and you just had this spark, and I was like, oh wow, that lady was really lovely. And then you came to our PDC and you just fit into the community so beautifully, and then you came back for another one, and it was like you became family then. And from that point forward, we've lived together at different times. We've continued bringing our girls up, so you're Mama Sammy, I'm Mama Toddy, and we've birthed this project together. So yes, Nature Kids was sort of an on-site, in-person Nature Kids activities, so that families could do their PDC together, and the kids were doing their most amazing, awesome, fun things as well. And then after that, you and I continued to do them in school holidays, and we had so much fun. We decided to create this online program, and partly so that we could continue doing our passion, our love, but also because we knew that we could have a global reach. We could support more families in learning these skills for sustainability together. So yay, thank you for this fun journey that we're doing together.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Like you say, it just filters into into everything. Like for me, what I felt you were leading to is also just provides such a framework for homeschooling as well. That's what I've seen as just being so crucial and important, and a lot of people have pivoted that way. So to be able to support that is such a very grateful for that.
So cool. Maybe in this talk you can share some of that, but let's just kind of move through these important questions, because this is really around herbalism and plants. So how do you specifically integrate plants from a herbalism perspective into either your home, your garden, or your community?
Yeah, sure. I have an answer for every aspect, I think. I always think of the most recent. So most recent was that I just went for something that was easy and quick. And for me, that's the essential oils. So whenever it's myself and Sophia, whenever either of us show any sort of symptoms, that's kind of my first reaction, along with my little homeopathy first aid kit. Yeah. So there it is in energy form, and there it is in a tactile form as well. Because who doesn't love to get their feet massaged with a bit of base and essential oil, and then the smell as well to open up the senses. So I really like all of that because it covers so many aspects of this of the self. That it's kind of covering and helping. Having moved a lot, I don't always have a garden, but I'm very grateful that I have people around me with many gardens, including spiral gardens or medicine gardens, that I'm able to have access to. And I think that's where I have to say that, I do my best to thrive, is to have a really good network that I can connect into. And I have. I mean, this year for me has been a little bit bumpy with health. So having such a beautiful community where I have yourself, and I have a herbalist, and a couple of naturopaths, and a couple of homeopaths that I can just chat with and then get those remedies really quick. So they come into our life as balms or tinctures or dried or fresh, and I'm able to use those as teas or balms or in any which way. I feel really blessed in that. I mean, I can have a book and look through things because my knowledge is not at depth in those areas, but knowing who I can contact to be able to find out that information and respond in so many different ways. Because I noticed that, like all of us, but of course with my own child, I notice at different times different things respond better. Sometimes it can be smell, sometimes it can be that touch, sometimes it can be something that has to be consumed, or so I like to just use them in any which way form and in a great variety.
Diversity.
This is it. It builds our resilience. Great. But that's the other one too, I suppose, is that I'm learning more and more and seeing it happen. Like recently I got an amazing plant called the vetiver grass and just watching the way its roots grow and how it can hold the bank. And I was using it before in its essential oil form because I'd read about how it's quite calming for different things like the anxieties or attention deficit and these kind of challenges that we, all managing. Just seeing how that affects the soil as well and how it opens it up and it aerates it and it allows different things and minerals and nutrients and everything to be absorbed. So I think that's quite powerful, and having such an amazing garden that's abundant beside me at the moment, I'm seeing and watching that occur. So I feel quite blessed that I can get in there and play and learn in an established garden. And the lovely lady that lives there, who's my landlady, she's actually about to go away for 2 months, so it's really nice as well because it wants me to get over there a little bit more to help maintain it and therefore learn a lot more.
Great. I think that's a really wonderful tie-in, or just the way you speak about you moved a lot, but you still had you've got this amazing community that can support you and show you or provide you these plants even if you're not growing them yourself. Like you still get to enjoy that kind of lifestyle without having your own garden. And that's really powerful because I think some people wait until they can achieve the dream of far into the future when they've got the land. Whereas it's it can happen right now. And the fact that you've your neighbor has taken down the fence so that it's connected both of your properties, and she can go on holidays and know that you're going to look after it. And she has so much abundance that the surplus is being shared with you. That gives me goosebumps because that's the future that I vision, and that's what I think the outcome of families who are journeying with us in our program, that's what they're creating. That's going to be the ripple effect. Imagine if...
And this the local seed savers, so everything's getting shared and everyone always brings their little seedlings, and they're little plants, and they're abundance to share around. And so many of those that I go to, they've also got their little cards that talk about what this plant is and how to look after it, and how to use it once you can harvest it. They're amazing events.
Cool. Yeah. Constant information sharing. Great. So, on all that, do you have a favourite herbal plant that you can recommend as a must-have to include in any home garden, and why? I mean, you briefly just mentioned vetiver, but is that the one, or are there other amazing plants that you could highly recommend?
It's like the simple answer is no. You can't recommend one.
Do I have to pick
How do
a
you
favourite?
recommend one? I do have a few favourites, and I suppose I lean towards comfrey being my favourite because it's healed me once, and I loved it so much for that, and just find it an amazing plant. And the more I learn about it, recently I learned how deep its roots go. It goes so deep that it can, it's tapping into soil and these nutrients that are so deep that it's bringing that back up to the surface, and then it's in its leaves, and so then we chop and drop that and give that back to the earth, and so that top layer and that subsoil is getting all of this nutrients that otherwise it would not have got. So it's helping the earth, it helps us in so many ways. But I used it as a compress once on my ankle. I damaged my ankle quite bad, and I was living outside of Townsville, and there was a cyclone, so there was no power, there was no ice, there was no pain relief, and that's
back to
all
basics.
I had. Yeah, and I was fortunate that the land that I was on, people were really aware of that, and they knew it. They knew to do that straight away. But that's all I had for 3 days, and then I was off to South America, and I walked a mountain for 4 days.
Straight after.
Yeah.
So it was healed by the time you went, or it was on its way?
It was on its way. I did have a slip because it was raining on that trek, but then I was able to put my foot into a bucket of water that was like melted ice, because we were so high up, and the water was like melted ice.
Wow.
And that helped.
Where were you? Machu Picchu?
Yeah, I walked to Machu Picchu.
Oh, wow.
So that was. But yeah, I would say comfrey, just for all its many medicinal values, but for the land and for us. And it's also such just a beautiful plant. And I've been so amazed at how big it can grow when it's really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you make your compress?
I didn't actually make it, but I was there watching it. I was the patient. So
Sure.
I got looked after.
Your foot was too sore to make it.
Yes. But my loved one made it with a Morton pestle.
Yeah.
Just
ground it up.
Ground it up, and then wrapped it up for me like first aid bandage, and put it, wrapped it around my ankle in such a way that it held it in its spot and kept it aligned.
That's the handy one, because it's the other name for it is knit bone.
There we are.
So it can really, if it's applied and if something's broken and it hasn't been set in place properly, it can heal things so fast that it can heal it out of its integrity or where it's supposed to be. So there's a little caveat of making sure that things are in the right place.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because the people that were helping me are wise ones in our community who do live by that natural therapy, and that was something that I remember was getting discussed, sort of align it and keep it straight. I was just sort of, oh, this is hurting.
Taking deep breaths.
There's a cyclone coming. Okay, great, I'm distracted again.
Another thing that I learnt in my compress making of comfrey is to use aloe vera, because I'm not sure if everyone would need to do it, but this is how we do it, because Nova actually has reactions to normal Band-Aids.
Okay.
So does Blake. And so with the straight comfrey root and its leaf, when we grind that up in the mortar and pestle, if we apply that straight to her skin or Blake's skin, they get a rash. So we figured out to put a 50-50 comfrey to aloe vera gel, and then that ratio prevents any rash from forming. But it's so amazing how when you apply it, it just dries and becomes its own Band-Aid in itself. This one we wrapped mine
too, already in a bandage, but I do remember how much it dried out, and then it was like, I need another one. sort of new. I mean, and that is another one that you just spoke of, aloe vera, but it's almost like that goes without saying.
Yeah, I know that everyone's mentioned that plant so far.
As well.
Thanks for bringing up comfrey.
Well, I personally, because I do move a lot, and then, you know, I have moved a lot, and then I've been fortunate enough, like you say, to have community. But what I've found has been, because I love convenience and easiness, just like every other human being, is that when these things come into my life, is that a lot of the times they still might have a root system. So just being able to replant them or putting them in water and extending their yield, like that's really something that, well, really my grandmother really taught me that, to tell you the truth. But it so fits in with permaculture principles as well. It's just sort of, we can keep that abundance going. And then dry them out, and then, you know, there's just so many different...
Well, that's one of our lessons, isn't it? Extending the yield of it. All these, well, maybe not comfrey, but all these other amazing plants that you can regrow before you throw.
Yes, that's it.
And well, to me, you're the honey lady. You're the bestie to have. I never go, like, my honey pot never empties. You notice when it's going down, and next minute I look and the honey pot's full again. It makes me feel so abundant. But with that, you also have access to a lot of wax. So do you, like, you make things with it too, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. That was a little side venture for a while too. I used to have markets where I would make a base that I called skin food, and that was just beeswax and oil. I like jojoba oil or sweet almond oil, and a butter, and I most of the time use shea butter. So that's just the base, and then I would use the essential oils to be able to create pain relief, or, you know, relaxing with lavender or something like that, or you know, a healing balm, or and then I just became adventurous. I used to create one called Cool, Calm and Collective, because a lot of those things in there were can help with, you know, relaxing and relieving anxiety and all those kind of things. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Now I just do it for us at home. That's my moisturizers and all those things, and make perfume. Can make lipstick as well with the natural dyes coming from, you know, different plants and things.
Amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
And do you do any of that in the program?
Yes, we do.
We make a lesson on that.
DIY personal products.
Well, I'm looking forward to doing a big harvest with our comfrey here and making a salve with your beeswax too, because it's that, you know, that's really important as well, is sort of sourcing those materials as close to home as possible and supporting local. You know, my mind was blown when I learned about the difference between beekeepers and honey producers. And I really want to support beekeepers, because they're not killing a hive to access and mass produce honey that's done on a monoculture sort of sense. They're really there for the longevity and the health of the bees. And the honey is the secondary sort of, I mean, that it's a business and they have it, but it's just that general care and the passion that beekeepers have. It's pretty,
I have to agree,
pretty
completely.
Special. Cool. So can you share an example of when you utilized plants to improve your health, and what was that experience? So you've shared on the use of comfrey with your ankle, but is there other plants in your journey that's been, like you mentioned, you've in the past you've had hay fever a lot, and you've sort of taken Lent into Ayurvedic and traditional.
They've definitely woven in and out of my life. Even as a teenager, when I first found out that I was allergic to so many things, my mum found traditional Chinese medicine, and there was a time where we would stand in the kitchen and she would have the banana ready, and I was taking this, you know, herbal remedy that's, I could smell it before I got even close to it, sort of thing. But we just did that. But that was a really eye-opener, that journey, because I remember meeting that gentleman, the traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, and he just knew things so quickly by looking at different parts of my body, holding my pulse, or looking at my hand, or looking at the state of my tongue. There was just this awareness that was happening, and then he could put together, you know, these different herbs to be able to help build up my immune system, to be able to balance out or help the system balance out itself. So that was the beginning. And there was significant change in my health. Of course, I had to do many things as well. It wasn't just...
Was there some lifestyle changes that were required?
One or two or three. They were tricky as a teenager, but there was no other choice, The instant consequences were difficult, and we choose to suffer. Pain's inevitable, but we choose to suffer. And then, as an adult as well, I found out that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, so a lot of fluid, water retention in my body, and then in my ovaries as well. And that's when I found the Ayurvedic practitioner, and he too put me on many lifestyle changes, and very strict in that sense, which I was able to follow because I was living in my four-wheel drive traveling. But there was a lot of herbal remedies in there as well. So they've definitely been, they're definitely big lampposts, marked areas in my journey where they've really helped me change a path, especially, for the better, of course. And now they're just interwoven wherever they can be, freshly in meals and tea, hot teas and salves and tinctures and any which way. And I do my best to keep them in routine or keep them in cycle with the moon. Like with my daughter, we will do the Triflex, the tincture for helping rid parasites, and we'll do that at every new moon, and we'll do that for several days, like at that time. And I just try to do that regularly. So there's those things that we maintain as well. Yeah.
And then you went on to do what's
martial arts.
What's the name of it?
Zendukai. Zendukai is a Japanese style karate. Yes. That was coming out of my teen years, and as I was able to breathe through my nose after having such a journey with my sinuses and so on. I went on to do martial arts, which that was a really eye-opener to energy and to chi and to life force, and it was that sort of opened up that area for me. But on my journey, it took a little while to realize how that connection is actually connected to all of nature as well, and all of the herbs. So it's we all go on this journey, don't we? It was from martial arts to psychology to permaculture, or to motherhood to permaculture.
Beautiful. That's such a lovely insight and journey. So you have that ritual, that monthly ritual, which I think is pretty necessary up here in the deep, in the tropics, working with parasites, or and then what do you call it, the feed and
seed.
Feed and seed. So then replenishing with all of the
feed.
Weed seed feed. Bit like what we do to the land.
This is it.
Just going back, the Chinese medicine guy makes me think that they're reading the landscape of your body. They're understanding all of the patterns, and that's what permaculture is to the land.
Yes.
And understanding all of the energy flows with the sun and the radiation and the water flow, and trying to, making an effort to slow it down and sink it and spread it so it's not creating erosion, and what else is that? Soil, working with the soil types or improving the soil to be able to build. And I just think there's so many connections to our body and how plants do so many of those ecosystem services to the earth if we know how to use them. And work with them to, play those parts or put them in the right place. And that it goes for us as well. Like you said, there's a timing for things as well. So is there anything else that you use on a regular basis, plant-wise, that supports your health and well-being?
Oh, yes, definitely. My day starts with my lemon juice.
Yep.
Yeah, and then not every day, but there's many days that I'll have my tea that's got the ginger and the turmeric and a little bit of coconut oil that's, got whatever the mixture is. In the middle of winter, that usually turns into some kind of brothy stew that I end up putting in the blender and making like a savoury breakfast with all these greens and garlic and all the rest of it.
Totally remember you doing that a lot. And you always seem to have a jar of garlic
garlic honey.
Yeah, garlic and honey. Yeah.
That is such a staple in our life. I think that jar's been going now for about 6 years. I just top it up with honey and garlic all the time.
I remember you coming back from a farm once and you just had like all these threaded, plaited garlic.
Yes, the biodynamic farm. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
he said we could harvest whatever we could carry. We could harvest.
you both of you walking out, like your hands completely full. You're like plaiting it into your hair. What an awesome farmer.
He is. He's a lovely man. He and Gwen. Yeah. So what else? I'm sure there's more. Well, I think what I've done and which I love is that from a young age I started to put these things into Sophia's diet as well, just in little ways, you know, with green smoothies or hummus always has, you know, a little bit of garlic in it, and, you know, even guacamole now she has to make 2 guacamoles if a friend is over because no one can. She loves the garlic.
She doesn't want to share. Well, no, hers is so intense.
Yeah. And sometimes we even put coriander in there or these different things. So just having those as a standard, you know, in our life. I mean the other ways are just to, you know, just to harvest as we're walking through the garden. Like we've always got mint growing, or we've always got shallots, or there's always sweet leaf. There's always something there that just can be picked as you're walking past and eaten. So that's pretty much a standard, you know, lifestyle trait.
That's it. Yeah. And sometimes we don't need to be having high doses of things. Like the culinary herbs are quite medicinal. They can be blood building. They can be cooling to the system, or high in, you know, minerals or nutrients that if we're taking and eating on a regular basis, especially if it's fresh and you are the one who's grown it and you are harvesting it and you're doing it with all of that love, it's like, what could be better?
It's grown for you. I mean, we've read the, you know, the singing cedar books, the ringing cedar books, sorry. And, you know, we do occasionally, you know, spit in the soil and put the seed in our mouth before we put it in there. So in that way, it's grown for our system as well, which is pretty exciting. It's
Next
pretty
level.
Close connection.
I love it. I love doing that too. And when you've saved the seeds, you know that they're totally fine to be putting in your mouth as well.
Yes.
When you spoke about vetiver, like you've been using the vetiver tincture or oil, and then you touched on vetiver as, you know, the root system and it used for erosion control and all of those sort of benefits. It just sort of made me think of this part of our program. So I'd just love to read out a little snippet of it that I just brought up, and it's from the lesson of Plant and Medicine Herb Garden or Medicinal Herb Garden. So I'm just going to read a little bit from it here. The earth consists of a large web of life where we are all connected. Our personal actions inside this web affect all life. It has become easy in modern society to purchase and consume products from all over the planet, and in doing so, become disconnected from how our actions and, in particular, our consumption affects the environment. Medicinal plants and herbs within a permaculture ecosystem do more than provide medicine just for us. The ecosystem services that these plants provide are also part of the health and regeneration of the larger and connecting ecosystems. So, we aim to integrate these very useful plants for many reasons. And I think just the essence of that is what's good for us is good for the earth. What's good for the earth is good for us. And these plants, these medicinal plants, are healing us. And they're healing the earth as well. And with the vetiver, it's like from a permaculture perspective, that's one of, you know, that's such a useful plant.
Yes.
I mean, we're going to, each podcast, I guess, we're going to have more of these topics come up, and we'll talk a bit more of them in detail, like pigeon pea and bananas and whatever people bring forth. But yeah, vetiver, the healing food. I guess it's like if it stops erosion in the landscape, it's like when we come into zone 0, and it's like what is eroding in our minds and our bodies, and how is that plant supporting that to bringing things all together and giving it integrity and holding our system. It's
yes. Yes. And just while you were reading that, it made me think of also how I love herbs in the garden as seeing what they also bring in, like bringing in all the pollinators and bringing in so many, or either being basically an integrated pest management system. So they're either distracting those insects away from the edibles, or they're providing habitats and food and all of these wonderful things for all these different insects
predators
and bugs and predators and
we go deeply into that, don't we, in the IPM love your bugs lesson, because that's so important. So many people think that they can't garden, but even in a diversity and having these really rich medicinal plants in a garden, whether we eat them or use them, and we have that knowledge, like learning about plants by investing our time and energy to become allies, is sort of the journey that herbalists take. And I think from a permaculture perspective, a lot of the time it's around food, fiber and medicine. But most of the time it starts with food. Like people want to be able to grow their own fruit and vegetables and culinary herbs. And for me, it wasn't until I had Nova that I was looking to my garden to find natural medicinal ways, like using spilanthes or the toothache herb to help with her teething, and purposely growing it for that reason. And maybe I'll do a podcast on that one time, because that's a beautiful story. But with the calendula and there's a few, comfrey that you just, and the aloe vera and things like that. But it takes time to know what these plants are.
And sometimes, like for me, you've just triggered for how sometimes for me it's that something has to happen for my knowledge to come through.
Yeah.
Sophia recently, a couple of weeks ago now, had a toothache, and when I saw it, she had a spot of black on her tooth, and I was like, oh my goodness, So we just went straight to the clove. We were gargling things as well, but we had essential oil and put it on a tissue paper, and she would just soak her tooth in that tissue paper, and it took about 2 days and all that black disappeared.
Wow.
Her tooth ended up falling out because it was loose, and it was a baby tooth.
Yeah.
But it completely disappeared. We were both just so beautifully amazed. I won't say shocked at all, because nature always has the answers, has all we need.
Yeah.
But that was just another beautiful example.
Yeah.
Just to be able to rely.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like the learning comes through living, and so we get these maybe a illness or a sickness or an accident happens, and when our mindset is around seeking solutions in nature, then the answers come forward.
Yes.
And we build our knowledge set through that practice.
Well, that's it. And usually one comes first, doesn't it? Usually the knowledge or experience. But once you have both, hopefully you gain wisdom. Yeah. Hopefully. Or maybe there's a few more lessons to learn.
Yeah. And, neither of us are herbalists, but I think we... So it's always important for people to do their own research and take what we're speaking about as maybe a seed planted, and that they can go and do their own research. But once you start looking, there's a whole lot out there. And, this elder tree organization and the future that this is evolving to is going to be a physical place that people can come and learn. And as Twiggy says, it's about putting the medicine back in the hands of people, and I really love that. It was in a bit of research that I did that for this lesson on a medicinal garden was around Nicholas Culpeper, and the word herbalism didn't actually appear in recorded English until the 17th century, because before that most people used plants routinely as a medicine, and it wasn't even considered like an important or a remarkable concept to even include in text or label it. So Nicholas Culpeper was the herbalist who sort of started translating the medical guides from Latin so that the everyday people could share the information and the treatments and make it accessible to the poor, so that it was in language that they could understand, not just in Latin, and that more people reading it were able to then share. Because it's like when we all gather and we meet and mums talk, and it's like, oh, this happened to my child, oh, she's got an earache, oh, I use tea tree and basil oil, you know, but don't put it in the ear, put it on a cloth and, you know, dab it on the outside, and all of this wisdom that we share through our connections really, you know, I think started happening in the 17th century. And the recipes, the remedies, the information on growing and harvesting, that's, as friends and family and community, is such an important thing for us to share in our resilience moving forward in these times.
Definitely. There's a good book there.
Maybe one day. I think this program's a book in itself.
Yes.
All right, so the final question is, what is alive and thriving in your life right now?
So many things.
Where do we begin?
Well, definitely the learning pod that my daughter is a part of. That's really exciting to be all homeschooling together and creating something so new and inspiring and in such a beautiful collaborative way. You know, there's so much integrity and honesty and groundedness within the whole group, and so much wisdom. Very, very grateful for all of that. That's coming to an end, so that's definitely alive and thriving and taking a lot of energy and enjoying every bit of that. As well as, of course, our Nature Kids program, permaculture program for families. There's a lot of excitement there. There's so many aspects to that, so many pathways and so many different things that is growing and flourishing there.
And that's been a 2-year project, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We had this, we thought we could do it in a year, but it's just so rich. There's just so much.
Maybe if we would have stayed still. We had to move a few times. And I mean, all of that has made it richer as well. I mean, the 6 months that I had on the farm allowed me to have so much practical experience in so many different places. You know, all the different things that I've been able to experience in such a short space of time has really enriched everything that I can bring as well. So that's really exciting.
And then also Nature Kids, like part of the homeschooling pod, and doing the activities with the kids, from seed saving to planting their seed balls. Oh yeah, and you want to talk about the seed balls at the Eco Fiesta? So you're like going back full circle. Your journey started at the Eco Fiesta in Townsville, and now what do you do at the Eco Fiesta in Cairns?
That's a great point. We create seed balls.
How many, in fact?
I think last year it was under 600, and then this year we were over 1,000.
Yeah,
which is so exciting. The majority of those seed balls went home with the muddy hands that created them. And so all of those organic seeds are throughout so many places. And so many of those that we put into the
pod
our learning pod with all the homeschooling children, a lot of those just, they thrived and flourished without really having to do much. So that all of that could be happening through all these vacant spots and cans and
other schools,
throughout North Queensland,
other homeschooling communities, sunflowers everywhere.
That's heaps of fun. I love the way community comes involved in there. A lot of people just have no idea, and then when they hear the simplicity of it, and then the
soil,
the resilience
clay,
of it,
compost,
and then how long
compost, clay, and water.
Compost, clay, seeds, and water.
And a big shout out to Seed Savers Network. especially the Cairns and Mareeba mob that come
Always
along and help us
yeah.
and bring along some of the seeds and some really interesting seeds as well to show how diverse and how, you know, like the true jewels, like they're such treasures, their shapes and sizes and colours, and such a, give me a handful of seeds any day.
Give me this, my love language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also fortunate enough to do a little bit of work with another local business that uses all organic products and you know, creates all of these organic spa products. I mean, that's heaps of fun.
Very cool.
Made wild, all of their... And so that's heaps of fun too, because I mean, all of those things are beautiful herbs and flowers and all these plants that get used. That's another way that they're reaching people, and that they're, you know, a lot of the times, of course, we go for a bit of luxury to these spas, but it's therapy as well.
So it's like the plants are calling you. You're kind of working with them in all these different ways. And I had one lucky day where I got to come and hang out in the lab as well. Meet Afra, and hopefully one day she can be on this podcast and share her incredible story.
Definitely. Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, to have her here in Koa in far north Queensland, and to be making these gorgeous chemical-free, you know, and the places that she goes and the sourcing that she does to find all of these local organic sources from small...
She does put in a lot of effort to connect locally, doesn't she?
Yeah.
All the way across
small
the table
growers.
out there towards Twiggy too, out at Ravenshoe, off she goes.
Totally.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like in this community up here, there's a lot of people...
Yes. I'm not sure what you're going to say, but I'm just going to say yes. The community is so rich with so many amazing people.
Yeah, just with that kind of mindset and capacity, and making really down-to-earth products or services. And I think the Elder Tree is really that space to collaborate and to share that in these podcasts, and then in the physical form when we all come together in that space. So... there'll be information at the end of this podcast if people feel inspired to donate to our cause, because it's there's no other place in Australia like the vision for it. And even in Twiggy's most recent podcast, she did some research, and there's only one sort of place beyond where naturopath and herbalists can do their accredited training and studies to be, you know, on the board. It's so clinical, and they're under bright lights, and they're, you know, doing all of the anti-lifestyle choices, and they're aware of it, and they're like, I'm here because I want to heal and work with plants, but I'm not even touching them, and I don't know what they look like. And it's very prescriptive, and they have big hearts, and they have really good intentions. But there's this real need for a place to then, what's the pathway? Like, how can a herbalist and naturopath go and either learn how to grow them, or, you know, make these products, or learn about them and do the studies whilst on, you know, in the land, on the farm, and working with the plants direct, and making the tinctures and and all of the other, you know, ways of preparing and storing and working with the medicines. So I think there's some fun and exciting things coming forward for Nature Kids and for the Elder Tree. Well,
that's the other thing I'm excited about, is to be a part of the fundraiser that's coming up soon too for Elder Tree. That's the other thing I really enjoy, and that's, you know, like you say, quite alive in my life, is that I love being a part of the community and doing things like this. And I'm a part of the local you know, regular markets as well, and as
coordinating
you are as well,
that, doing things,
you know, barbecue and fundraising events. I've really enjoyed that aspect of of permaculture.
Yeah. And well, this comes out on the 2nd of December. So on the 10th of December is the actual event.
Yes.
So let's talk about that
Yes.
while we can. So it's a film and movie night, and it's a gathering, and there's all people can come and have their market stalls. You talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm having a little market stall as well, and helping out as much as I can on the day.
Oh, so
But
people
there's
can come and like meet you for real if they don't know you already. Yay.
Wonderful. Yeah, and well, there's workshops as well.
Yeah,
wonderful
that's
workshops.
right. I'm
And,
doing
you're
a
doing
permaculture
discussion
yarn circle with the amazing Gaia craft cards. It's really
Yeah.
thought-provoking.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I believe Sam will be there too. Sam Marsh, like all his edible weed walks and things like that. I mean, that's the other part, isn't it, of herbalism.
Totally.
I've been fortunate enough to kind of understand a tiny bit of bush tucker while growing up, and being fortunate enough to have some close friendships with some Indigenous people that have taught me a few things here and there. But that's really exciting too. The people that we have in our community that will be sharing their knowledge and expertise on the day.
Yes,
that's my understanding. There's going to be a few little small workshops.
There will be, yeah.
Local, like I think Carly, a dancer, is going to do some even poi workshops.
Body work, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite a...
And a raffle
kids'
with awesome
activities.
local services and products, kid
Wonderful.
activities. And we're showing an amazing film called Newman after the feast, which is all around plant and relationship with plants. And then another one around hope and community. I can't remember the name. But if people go onto the Elder Tree website or Facebook page, they'll be able to see the full poster and all of everything that's included in this awesome event, fundraiser event. And even if they want to be involved, if you're listening and you want to have a stall or just attend, you can connect in that space, and we'd love to have you be part of it. Before we say goodbye, is there anything that you would like to share with our listeners about permaculture or herbalism?
Yeah. The thing that's coming to me right now is that I see my journey with herbalism and permaculture to be similar. It's sort of like, it's little by little we achieve a lot. So it's not, once I thought it was all about need to have a green juice, so I had this really high, intense parsley juice, and then wondered why I was feeling spun out, and then I had to actually vomit, and then I was like, maybe that was too much parsley in that green
vitamin
juice.
K overdose.
So I've learned little by little, achieves a lot, and that's what I found with permaculture too, small solutions. Hey?
Yes.
And then they become part of our habits, which we know can take time and consistency and discipline, applying self-regulation and accepting feedback.
Yeah.
Just little by little.
Yeah. And you always say, until next time, keep playing.
That's what come to mind too. It's like, until next time, stay connected to community, stay connected to nature, stay connected to our natural remedies that are out there, and yes, keep playing.
Keep playing. So our slogan is connect, nourish and grow in tune with nature.
My favorite therapy model that I used when I was a therapist was acceptance and commitment therapy, and it always talked about psychological flexibility, and at the end of the day, what is working for you to create the rich and meaningful life that you desire. Is that working? Let's keep doing that. If it's not working, then find
the
something
problem
else.
is the solution.
Yes. It all entwines.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for spending your evening with me in the studio once again. And we'll sign off now. So goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Toddy. It's been heaps of fun.
Since recording this interview, Samantha and Tonielle has decided to donate 10% of any purchased Nature Kids program through the Elder Tree to the Elder Tree. This means if you use the unique coupon code as a subscriber to the Elder Tree podcast, then you receive a 10% discount. and 10% of the sale will go to the Elder Tree Foundation as a donation. So please, if you're interested, use the coupon code provided in the show notes, and we'll see you in the inside of the program, and your offer will be going to a really amazing cause. The Elder Tree is a not-for-profit organisation that is in the beginning stages of creating a grassroots herbal education centre and healing sanctuary in the Atherton Tablelands of Far North Queensland. To find out more, go to theeldertree.org and follow the journey on Instagram and Facebook. You can also donate to the Elder Tree via our podcast channel on Anchor or via the website. If you like the episode, we'd love you to subscribe. And if you know who we should interview next, drop us a line. See you next month. And in the meantime, may you grow them to know them and be blessed with good health and many plants.